I'm not gonna say anything, but I think everybody saw the game, so they know what happened. It was a lot. It wasn't fair, but we just gotta play the game. I gotta keep playing the game, but it was a lot, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Luka Dončić plays with passion, intensity, and an unshakable will to win. He wears his emotions on his sleeve, fights for every possession, and never hesitates to challenge the officials when something doesn't sit right. At first, it seemed like the usual superstar frustration, just another elite competitor demanding fairness in the heat of the moment. But over time, this has turned into something bigger. This isn't just about bad calls anymore, it's starting to feel personal, even. During his time with the Dallas Mavericks, Luka's fiery nature and outspoken leadership put him at odds with referees. But one thing has always been clear. He doesn't argue just to argue. He speaks up for fairness, consistency, and respect. Not just for himself, but for his teammates as well. That's what makes him the leader he is. Luka isn't one to stand by while questionable calls shift the momentum of a game. If something is off, he calls it out. He stands his ground, speaks his mind, and refuses to let injustice slide. Because for him, winning isn't just about skill. It's about making sure the game is played and called the right way.
O'Neal puts it up off the mark. Tip up, no. Nurkic can't get at the ball. Overtime. Or are they calling a foul?
Yes.
In that moment, Luka didn't hesitate. After seeing a teammate hit with what he believed was an unfair foul, he stepped in immediately, calm yet firm, pleading his case to the referee without backing down. This wasn't just about a single call, it was about standing up for his team. But sometimes even that wasn't enough. There were nights when Luka found himself on the wrong side of game-changing whistles. And as his star power grew, so did the number of questionable calls against him. Suddenly, in the biggest moments, the whistle wasn't in his favor. Fouls were piling up at the worst possible times, decisions that didn't just disrupt a single play, but had the power to swing the entire game.
And Murray, shot clock winding down! Oh, call the foul! Oh. And there's going to be a challenge here. Dallas is going to challenge this. This is right front.
Luka Dončić has faced tough breaks before, but this moment felt different. A critical game, a borderline call, and once again, the whistle didn't go his way. Frustration flashed across his face as he threw up his hands, struggling to understand how a routine play had turned into another costly foul against him. But this wasn't just bad luck, it was a glimpse into a much bigger problem. Luka has dealt with questionable officiating for years, but since joining the Lakers, it's reached a whole new level. The pattern is undeniable. Phantom fouls, technicals for the smallest reactions, and blatant no calls when he's clearly hacked at the rim. At this point, it's beyond frustrating. It's a trend. Every player deals with bad whistles occasionally, but for Luka, it's become a nightly battle. And it raises an even bigger question. Is there something deeper going on with NBA officiating? Referee controversies aren't new. They surface every season, from the regular season to the finals. The NBA thrives on its marquee stars, the players fans pay to see, the faces of franchises. But not all superstars seem to get the same treatment. And when it comes to Luka Dončić, the difference is impossible to ignore. Unlike other elite players who get the benefit of the doubt, Luka seems to be playing on a different set of rules. Soft fouls against him? Constant. No calls when he gets hammered in the paint? Too frequent to be coincidence. Technicals for simply showing emotion? All too common. Think this is just another superstar venting about officiating? Look closer. The footage, the trends, and the sheer number of baffling calls tell a different story. Luka Dončić is being officiated differently, and not in a good way. Yes, fouls are part of the game, but some calls are so absurd, so inconsistent, that you have to wonder if the referees are watching the same game as everyone else. Luka gets whistled for contact so minor, it wouldn't even be called in a pickup game. And the worst part? These calls always seem to come at the worst possible moments. Luka isn't known for being an overly physical defender. He's not throwing elbows, shoving opponents, or playing aggressive hand-check defense. Yet, based on the way he's officiated, You'd think he was stuck in a 90s-style brawl in today's whistle-happy NBA? Just watch this moment. Luka gets hit with a foul for simply standing near Kyrie Irving. This is a textbook case of bad officiating. Kyrie Irving, one of the most skilled ball handlers in NBA history, tries to create space against Luka Dončić. Luka barely makes contact, yet the whistle blows instantly. What is he supposed to do? He's just playing defense. No reach-in, no grab, no shove, yet he still gets penalized for simply being there. But it doesn't stop there. This isn't just a questionable call, it's a game-altering one. Time and time again, players like Kyrie Irving, Jalen Brunson, and James Harden have mastered the art of drawing contact, baiting refs into blowing the whistle. Meanwhile, Luka doesn't get that same luxury. Take this foul on Jalen Brunson, another head-scratching moment. Brunson initiates the contact, loses the ball because of Luka's great instincts, yet somehow, Luka is the one who gets called for the foul. And when Luka takes a hit like that, no whistle, these calls keep stacking up. By the fourth quarter, Luka often finds himself in foul trouble, without even doing anything. It's a pattern that's becoming impossible to ignore. If Luka so much as breathes on an opponent, the refs call a foul. But when he's the one getting hammered in the paint, silence. And the worst part? When Luka does get hit with a hard foul and reacts, instead of getting justice, he gets a technical. How is that fair?
Quickly now to the quarterback. Spinning around, Doncic, 1, 2, he's in the lane, and then got bottled up, and he's going to get a technical foul. They tee up Luka.
Well, he turned immediately.
This is where the inconsistencies become unbearable. Luka drives into the paint, absorbs contact from multiple defenders. No whistle. Frustrated, he reacts like any competitor would. But instead of correcting the mistake, the refs double down and hit him with a technical. Make it make sense. This wasn't just a bad call. It was a blatant no call that led to an even worse one. Luka takes clear contact. Play on. Luka shows. Frustration, immediate technical. At this point, what is he supposed to do? He can't defend without getting called for soft fouls. He can't attack the rim without getting hacked. And now, he can't even react without being penalized. It's not just frustrating, it's demoralizing. When a superstar of Luka's caliber is officiated this unfairly, it doesn't just impact him, it damages the integrity of the game. Fans don't tune in to watch referees dictate outcomes. They want to see the best players battle it out on a fair court. So you have to wonder, are the refs trying to send Luka a message? Because if they are, he's not backing down. And if they think bad calls will shake his confidence, they're in for a rude awakening. Just look at this. Luka takes clear contact against the nets. The refs? Nothing. Play continues as if it never happened. Once again, clear contact and nothing. Luka drives to the basket, takes a hit, and goes down hard. But the refs? Silent. No whistle, no foul. Play just continues, forcing Luka's teammates to scramble back on defense while he lays there for a moment, visibly frustrated, trying to process what just happened. Because at this point, what else can he do? Slowly, he gets up, shaking his head, clearly trying to keep his composure. But the frustration isn't just about this one play. It's about the countless times it's happened before. If this were Jason Tatum, James Harden, or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they'd already be at the free throw line. The problem isn't just bad calls, it's the inconsistency. Luka gets whistled for the lightest contact on defense, but when he gets hit at the rim, nothing. How is he supposed to adjust when the officiating is this unpredictable? These moments aren't just frustrating, they're game-changing. And at this point, you have to ask, is Luka being officiated fairly, or is there something bigger at play? Just look at this. Luka gets called for one of the softest offensive fouls you'll ever see. Luka Dončić controls the game like a maestro. He doesn't need elite speed or jaw-dropping athleticism. His footwork, balance, and body control do the work. He creates space without pushing off, absorbs contact without flopping, and maneuvers through defenders with pure skill. So when he makes a clean offensive move, only to get whistled for an offensive foul, it's more than frustrating. The defender wasn't even set. That's a textbook blocking foul. Yet somehow, the call goes against Luka. Where is he supposed to go? What exactly did he do wrong? He makes a fundamental basketball move, gets his shot off cleanly, and instead of heading to the free throw line, he's hit with an offensive foul. It's not just a bad call, it's a momentum killer. Instead of rewarding great offense, the refs punish Luka for simply playing his game. And you can see it on his face, because it's the same story every single game, soft fouls against him. No calls when he gets hacked. Technical fouls just for showing emotion. At this point, it's beyond bad luck. It's a pattern, and it's impossible to ignore. So when Luka finally confronts the ref, there's no hesitation. He's had enough. And honestly, who can blame him?
Doncic called for the foul. And a delay of game.
Luka tries to stay composed, but you can see it. He's had enough. He walks over to the ref, arms out, shaking his head, searching for an explanation. How is this happening every single night? He's not yelling. He's not throwing a fit. He's not trying to show up the officials. He just wants answers. Why are the calls so inconsistent? But instead of getting an explanation, all he gets is more frustration. Because what can the refs really say? They can't explain why Luka gets hit with no whistle. They can't justify why the lightest contact on him is always a foul. And they definitely can't defend why he gets technicals for things other players do every game. So, instead of owning up to the blatant inconsistencies, they just ignore it and move on. And for Luka, that's exactly the problem. A technical foul. For wiping sweat, you can't make this up. Watch Luka get hit with a tech for something as routine as wiping sweat off the ball. Something players do constantly, not for arguing, not for taunting, not for throwing the ball aggressively. Just for wiping off sweat. Let that sink in. At this point, what are we even doing? This isn't about maintaining control of the game. It's about Luka being held to a completely different standard. Other players can argue. They can question calls. They can show emotion. But Luka, he gets called for things that aren't even violations. And it doesn't stop there. Another tech. This time just for complaining about a call. Something every player does. Luka knew he was right. But instead of fairness, he got another technical. How does that even make sense?
Right back to Luka. Luka with 3, with 2. Oh, and they bailed him out a bit right there.
You bailed him out a bit?
Yeah, big time.
A big time bit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything, but I think everybody saw the game, so they know what happened.
Luka gets fouled, and he argues that he was in the act of shooting, which, to be fair, he absolutely was. Anyone with eyes could see he had gathered and was going up for the shot. Any other player, they'd get a chance to plead their case. Luka? Immediate technical foul. What exactly is he supposed to do? A referee makes a questionable decision, and the moment Luka dares to react, he's punished again. At some point, you have to wonder, do the refs just not want him to talk at all? If Luka so much as questions a call, it's an instant tech. But watch any other superstar. LeBron can talk to refs. Draymond Green can yell directly in their faces. James Harden can throw his arms up after every drive. They get warnings. They get leeway. They get treated like stars. Luka, the refs shut him down immediately. And it doesn't stop there. Luka gets pushed, clear as day. And guess what? No call. The ref was right there, watching the play unfold. Someone get them some contact lenses, please. Luka takes a forceful shove, completely off the ball, the kind of contact that gets whistled every single time for other superstars. Yet this time, no whistle, no review, not even an acknowledgement from the refs, and somehow it just keeps getting worse. Outrageous. The referee had the perfect angle. He saw Luka get shoved out of position and still did nothing. That wasn't just a foul, it should have been a flagrant. At the very least, a technical. Why? Because the NBA's own rulebook states that when a player is hit that hard off the ball, it must be reviewed for unnecessary and excessive contact. So why wasn't it? If this had been LeBron, Steph, or Harden, the refs would have immediately stopped the game. The play would have been reviewed, the contact assessed, and a call would have been made. For Luka, they acted like it never happened. Meanwhile, if Luka so much as bumps into an opponent, it's an instant foul. Where's the consistency? How is it that a perennial MVP candidate can get shoved in plain sight and the officials just look the other way? At this point, it's not just bad officiating, it's blatant. It's an entirely different set of rules being applied to Luka Dončić, and if the league won't hold officials accountable, Luka might have to start holding them accountable himself. Because one thing is certain, he's not just going to take this quietly. Luka isn't just playing against other teams. He's battling the refs every single night. Soft fouls when defending, no whistle when he gets fouled. Technicals for the most ridiculous reasons imaginable.